I think very less energy is there. Now we are moving to the award function. After my presentation, there is a more, and then I think there will be an award function. So you have to keep your energies to be good one. First of all, thanks to Elite for inviting Bureau of Energy Efficiency to talk on the opportunities on the energy efficiency part. On the dais, apart from me, I'm going to do two different things. All are four speakers which are from mining sector. I am the person from the power sector. And I'm going to talk a different one than these people. They have talked IT and IT related application in mining sector and their company related information. But I'm going to talk as a generic on energy efficiency opportunities. Particularly, I will talk on the initiatives taken by Bureau of Energy Efficiency in the field of energy efficiency. First of all, I just want to be just clear you that these Bureau of Energy Efficiency is not a public sector unit; it is a statutory body which is being formed under the Energy Conservation Act by Government of India. The PSU Summit 2014. I think this is really very good initiative by Elite, which evolves the importance, challenges, and opportunities in PSUs. As you know that the PSUs are facing very cutthroat competition from the domestic as well as multinational companies. So it's a high time to discuss the challenges and opportunities in the PSUs so that how they can compete with this global competition, also domestic competition. One of the objectives stated for this summit, as I have gone through the paper, is to take the cognizance of the steps that PSUs are taking to sustain their growth by implementing the best practices across the people, process and technologies. People, I agree, but for process and technologies, I am going to talk. For processes and technologies, how you can integrate the energy efficiency and how you can achieve the best practices in PSUs. Generally, in manufacturing unit, machine, raw material, money and management, when it combines with the energy, it gives you a final product. But as you know that the cost of manpower, the machine cost, the money and all, these are less controllable than the energy. While you can control the energy consumption in your production process and you can improve the productivity. In my next 15 minutes presentation, I will just take you through the 6 different agendas. One is, we will start with what is the energy scenario of our India. Then we will see the legislative and institutional framework on energy efficiency in India. Then the initiatives taken by Government of India in industries, particular buildings and appliances. Then we will see the national mission on enhanced energy efficiency, which is the part of the National Action Plan on Climate Change, which was released by our Prime Minister in 2008. Then we will see some voluntary initiatives taken by BE with some conclusion. So starting with the one statistics I just want to share with you. The energy demand in India. Dear friends, in 2011, the consumption of primary energy in India was 715 million tons of oil equivalent. This MTOE is the unit which is generally used at global level to measure the energy consumption of various countries. So our consumption in 2011 was 750 million ton oil equivalent. Yeah. You can observe that in 1971, our consumption was around 150 something million ton of oil equivalent, which is increased up to 750 million ton of oil. In this proportion, the major increase is observed in the coal area, while the biogas or biofuels are having the same contribution. And the second one is the oil, that is the crude oil, petroleum oil. This is the second part which is being increased heavily during this period, coal and the. So, and the renewable energy part is very negligible. You can observe this is the line for the renewable energy. So it indicates that we are heavily exhausting our conventional resources. The per capita energy consumption of our India in 2011 was 0.6 ton of oil equivalent. While consumption, this is supply, while the consumption is 0.4 ton of oil equivalent. We will see in the second slide, from developing to develop, right now we are a developing country. To become a developed country, what will be the consumption required per capita? As per the two different agencies, one is International Energy Agency and another is Indian Integrated Energy Policy. They are projecting two different scenarios by 2030. By 2030, our consumption, primary energy consumption will be around 1200 million tons to 1700 million tons of oil. Means it is going to be 2.5 times in the next 20 years, in the next 15 years. So, to meet this demand, to meet this increased demand in the next 20 years, what will be our reserves? I will just share with our reserves also. India is the fourth largest consumers of energy in the world, but our reserves, in terms of ranking for reserves, we are very much below. Our current reserves in oil, natural gas and coal, for oil we have only at 21 years the reserves are there, while the natural gas is only at 36 years and the coal is for 114 years. The important fact is that the oil, which is 21 years, we are using only a 30%. 70% we are importing from the other countries and only 30% is domestic production. At the 30% rate, we will have only for 21 years. And this production rate, so consumption or demand rate is increases every year around 10 to 15%. So you can consider that this 21 years is also being not sufficient. Means whatever the new demand is going to be generated, that is going to be for import. So as on date, 70% is the import for petroleum. So now by 2016-17 it will be 18%, because the new demand is going to for the only import. Coal, which is we are saying 114 years, but this is also being, if you consider, right now we are 90% our domestic production and 10% is imports. The production rate is increases every year, so if you apply that, this is also being up to 60 years we have to go. So you can think that if you are consumed in the same manner and the same way, and if you want to be a developed country, so how will be the reserves are going to be balanced for our future generation? Are you alone going to be exhausted? These figures are very indicative for energy efficiency and energy conservation. Now, how much energy is required to be a developed country? Right now we are a developing country. This is the graph which is indicating that the total energy consumption and the Human Development Index, SDI. Our SDI is right now around 0.6. We are a developing country, and our energy consumption is also in that range around 0.6 of ton of oil equivalent per capita. So if you want to be a developed country, into this regime you have to be shifted. That your Human Development Index, SDI, should be above 0.9. Then you become a developed country. Now China is having 0.9. China, which is nearest to us, they have developed and now they are a developed country in the phase of development. So to reach here, what is the energy per capita energy consumption is required. At least in the present form, you require 2.3 ton of oil equivalent per capita is required. Then you can be a developed country, and your SDI will be a 0.9. But India, when it's going to be achieved, India can create this transition. Means India can be a developed, achieve this 0.9, while the energy consumption will be a 1.5 ton of oil equivalent. This transition can be happen with the help of energy efficiency. Generally, it is required 2.3, but we can do it with the help of energy efficiency. We can achieve our SDI with the 1.5 ton of oil equivalent. Now, this is the facts about the consumption and the statistics. What about the price of energy which we are consuming in India? The industrial and commercial consumers in India paying the electricity, the charges for electricity and petroleum products that are highest among the world. This is the survey, and this shows that the highest among the world, which industries and commercial consumers are paying. Similarly, household consumers, like domestic consumers, they are paying electricity, charges for electricity and the petrol, that also highest in the world, considering to their incomes, with respect to their incomes. So in India, the energy cost is very high. Still, we have to develop and we have to achieve the Human Development Index 0.9, and we have to increase our energy consumption. To increasing imports, the demand, when you are to become a developed country, then your demand for the energy is going to be increased, and ultimately the imports will be going to be increased. So the prices of energy is going to be increased because the imports are not going to be, the cost of the energy for the imports are not going to be lessened. We have observed that there is a continuous reduction in energy intensity. Energy intensity means energy consumption per unit of GDP production. From last 10 years, we have observed that our energy intensity has been continuously declining. This may be two reasons. One is because of energy efficiency. Another is because of the contribution of service sector is increased and the manufacturing sector has been decreased. It has been estimated that every year around 15 to 100 billion rupees has been invested into the energy efficiency, and so our energy intensity has been decreased. Now, energy efficiency is the only way to achieve our energy security in future. Because it reduces the cost, it reduces the energy imports, it reduces your GHG emissions, greenhouse gas emissions. But we have observed that it is very limitedly penetrated in two sectors, mainly household. In household, it has been not penetrated because the high first cost of energy efficient appliances. The equipment which is more energy efficient, it is cost more, the initial investment is more, so the domestic user, that is household user, is not want to invest initial cost. But if you consider the life cycle cost, means the operating cost plus the fixed cost, then definitely energy efficient equipment is cheaper than the inefficient equipment. But we observe that the high first cost is the barrier for the penetration of energy efficiency. And in industries, we observe that the new technologies which are energy efficient, but the industries are having perceived being risky because they think that this is not demonstrated very well or not maybe a failure. So industries are not also encouraged for energy efficiency technologies. One of the important fact is that in India, 100 units of, if you supply 100 units of energy, that only 52 units of energy is being reached to the user end. Around 48 units of energy has been lost in the transmission, distribution, generation, or the efficiency of the appliances. So this is the very highest in the world actually. Now, legislative and institutional framework. Considering the importance of the energy conservation, energy efficiency in various sectors of our economy, the government has enacted the Energy Conservation Act in 2001. The act is called Energy Conservation Act. And for implementing this act, the government has constituted one body that called Bureau of Energy Efficiency. This is a statutory body. They are mainly responsible for implementing the energy conservation policies, programs and the regulations across all the sectors. The important thing is that this Act is providing balanced environment for regulatory enforcement and voluntary participation. Means through the Act there is no Inspector Raj is there. It will help in the balanced kind of environment for regulatory enforcement also and the voluntary participation. It also shows balance between market-driven methods and the governmental mandates. We will see some kind of examples also. Some of the important provisions of this Energy Conservation Act are: one is designated consumers. Designated consumers means the consumers which is identified under the Act. Most of the PSUs which are consuming very high energy like steel, thermal power stations, they are designated consumers. Even the paper and pulp maybe both are yellow, they are PSUs, they are designated consumers. So as on date, 9 sectors has been identified which are energy intensive in nature. They have been notified as a designated consumers. Buildings is also identified as a designated consumers. Buildings which having the connected load 100 kVA and the consumption is contract demand is 100 kVA and the connected load is 100 kVA. So these buildings are also designated consumers. What these designated consumers need to do as per the Act? These designated consumers have the mandatory targets for specific energy consumption norms. They have to adopt mandatory energy audit. They have to appoint energy manager. They have to integrate the energy efficiency in their manufacturing processes. So a lot of provisions has been given for the designated consumers in the Act. Then another provision is standard and labeling. You may be observed that in the shop the 5-star rated product is there, 4-star rated product is there. It's freeze, air conditioners, then TVs, then FTLs, transformers. So this standard and labeling program is also from the Act has been taken. As on date, 18 equipment has been identified and the 4 are mandated. We will see that. Third provision is energy conservation building codes. The energy consumption in buildings, particularly for air conditioning and lighting, increases heavily. So government has developed the energy conservation building codes for buildings which having the connected load, as I said, 100 kW and above. So these buildings need to comply with the energy conservation building code. Third is, last one is the creation of institutional setup. Means how the Act and the provision is going to be implemented. So at central level, Bureau is constituted as a statutory body who will work for the entire country, and at state level, state designated agencies are there which are identified by the state governments. They have mandate to implement the Energy Conservation Act and programs in their states. To implement this, all programs and the provisions, the Act is also having provision for the National Energy Conservation Fund and State Energy Conservation Fund. So the National Energy Conservation Fund is created for the national activities and the State Energy Conservation Funds are created for the state activities. Some of the important programs which we are running in various sectors, as I said, for appliances, we are running standard and labeling program where the star labels has been issued for the various appliances based on their energy efficiency. Then another program for promoting the CFL lamps in domestic sector, replacing the incandescent bulb with the CFL. Bachat lamp Yojana was there. This program was based on the clean development mechanism. There is no investment by government for implementing this project. Around 30 million lamps has been distributed with the help of the private investment. Then SIP, super efficient equipment program for the fans. The details are available, I am just not going to go because these are not being related to you also. The building, as I said, energy conservation building codes are there. For industries, there is a scheme, Perform, Achieve and Trade scheme under National Mission on Energy Efficiency. We will see that scheme. For SMEs also we have a program. Demand side management means managing the demand of the consumer at the user end so that the peak demand can be flattened or the energy consumption can be achieved. So DSM program we are running in 3 sectors. One is agriculture, another is municipal DSM, and third one is in SMEs. In agriculture, you may be surprised that 20% of total electricity which we produce goes to the agriculture sector, and more than 20 million pump sets are there in India, which are very much inefficient in nature. The efficiency is between 25 to 30% only. So there is a huge potential, investment potential for replacing this energy efficient pump sets through the ESCO business. Then awareness for voluntary activities. National Energy Conservation Award scheme is there. You will see the. And then mission, as I said, National Mission on Enhanced Energy Efficiency. This is one of the mission of the National Action Plan on Climate Change, which was released by Prime Minister. Now industries, as I say, designated consumers, 9 energy intensive industries including railways have been notified as a designated consumers. To create a manpower for implementing the energy efficiency programs, we have also a national certification examination for the energy managers and auditors. As on date, more than 8,000 certified energy managers are there, auditors are there. Appliances, as I said, 18 equipment has been identified. Out of that, 4 have mandatory that without star label they cannot be manufactured, like air conditioner, distribution transformer, FTL, and cost-free refrigerators. India is the first country again which have the norms for the LEDs. China is the biggest market for the LEDs, light emitting diode, which is the current energy efficient technology in lighting. But China do not have these standards, so now the market of the China in LED has been collapsed. But India has taken these steps, and from the day one we have developed the standards for LED, so that we are maintain our standards in the market also. We have also issued the corporate average fuel consumption norms for the cars. As the car which are going to be manufactured, this has to be a specific energy consumption, that is specific fuel consumption. Buildings, as I said, these are the projections. I will just come to the ECBC. ECBC, we have developed energy conservation building codes. We have developed for 5 climatic zones: hot, dry, warm, and humid composite. This ECBC sets minimum energy efficiency standards for buildings. So this course has been mandatory for the buildings. Now state implementation is on account of states. States are implementing as of date. More than 10 states has made it mandatory. Very soon it will be applicable in all the states also. National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency. As I say, National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency is the one of the important mission of the National Action Plan on Climate Change, which was released by our Prime Minister in 2008. NAPCC is our commitment towards the world for reduction of GHG gases. Basic objective of NMEEE is to to ensure the sustainable growth by 4 E's, namely energy, efficiency, equity, and environment. And the market potential, investment potential for NMEEE for various schemes is around 74,000 crore rupees. So these are the 4 components of NMEEE. One is perform, achieve, and trade scheme. Second is energy efficiency financing platform, MTEE, and FEED. So we will see the PAT only. For industries, we have observed that there is specific energy consumption is very varying among the industries. The best of the best unit is also available in India, and the worst of the worst unit is also available in India in terms of the specific energy consumption and the technology. So we have observed that there is bandwidth between the specific energy consumption. One of the examples for the cement and also for the paper. There is a large bandwidth between specific energy consumption, that is the consumption of energy per ton of product. This specific energy consumption targets has been given. Okay, I got a message that the minister is arrived. We have to wrap up. So I will just close on the last session, last part. So this perform, achieve, trade, the scheme which is being implemented, which is being announced by Prime Minister, where 478 units are there. I'll just come to these are the sectors: power, thermal power station, iron and steel, cement, aluminium, fertilizer, paper and pulp, textile, chlor-alkali. Out of 478 units, around 20 to 25% are for PSUs only. So, and mainly from the thermal power station and steel sector. So, around 40% target is rely on the PSUs only. I'll just skip this also. This is National Energy Conservation Award scheme by BE. So this is the representing the industries taking participate every year. Around 22,000 crore rupees has been invested by various industries to achieve the saving of 30,000 crore rupees. Now coming to the conclusion, as a PSUs, I just want to suggest some kind of thing. PSUs need to declare their energy policy. You should have the energy policy for which indicating your targets for energy reduction and also plans, because this will help you improve your productivity and also have the plan in your. You also need to have energy management cell with the dedicated resources. This certified energy manager is required or auditor is required, who will take care of all the energy efficiency activities in that in your PSU. Then establishment of energy management system. That EMS system is which can measure the all energy consumption in thermal as well as electrical, and which without measurement you cannot control, so you need a EMS system. You can also adopt ISO 15001 energy management standards, similar to ISO for quality for environment, ISO 14001 for environment, ISO 9000 for quality. You can also have the ISO 15001 for energy management standards. As per the central government notification, every PSU needs to conduct the energy mandatory energy audit at the intervals, at the 3 years or 2 years intervals. So I am requesting all the PSUs to have the energy audit and get the energy saving assessment of your unit. You also have a procurement policy for energy efficient equipments. And lastly, I am just requesting you can also adopt the energy conservation building codes for your new buildings or colonies where you are going to build up. So this is the. Thank you.